birthday to you.
Hey, that's actually copyrighted.
Is it?
Yeah, did you know that Universal owns Happy Birthday?
No.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
sucks.
crazy, right?
Yeah, no, that's stupid.
Yeah, so it's like we didn't finish the song. It was sampling at best. Do not throw a lawsuit on us,
That
you
sucks.
jerks.
We're poor. We don't have any money.
Yeah, there'll be all kinds of stuff. Universal, so I kind of want Universal to slap a lawsuit on us, so then we could put it on Reddit or something, and then get crazy famous because Universal tried to sue us, and then all the backlash would happen, and then we'd have a bunch of new listeners. That'd be cool.
Okay.
Sue away, jerk.
Okay. Anyways,
That's the weirdest way to start off a podcast.
Right.
We're asking for a lawsuit.
I didn't think we'd be talking about it for that long. But anyways, welcome to That's Dope Podcast. My name is Godswill, the brolicious bro host. Crap, I messed it up again.
It's almost a year. We've been doing this for almost a year. You have one job to do. It's to do your.
Honestly, we've been doing it for about 4 months.
Hey, hey! I don't want to hear your skepticism, my friend. I do not want to hear the skepticism.
Oh Lord.
Like,
Okay, let me do that again. So
do it again. Try
all
it.
right.
It's okay. You've had I don't know like a year of practice. Go ahead.
All right. So, anyways, welcome to That's Dope Podcast. My name is Godswill. I am the baritone bro host.
And I am Justin V, the high-voiced host, and we are going to celebrate our birthday this year.
Woo!
This year, I guess it's really this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Apologies for the failure to enunciate exactly what we're celebrating.
So for all y'all who probably don't know, our podcast has turned 1 year old this month. Actually,
Woo!
we did it, sorta.
Sort of. We've had our insanely long breaks, that's for sure, So even to call it a year, it doesn't really feel right almost.
Yeah.
Because we definitely haven't delivered a year of content. That being said, this hasn't been something that we put on the back burner and then just came back to recently. We have been thinking about this for a while. So at least to me, it does feel like a year, and I think it's something worth celebrating.
Exactly.
I think it's something worth making a podcast over for sure.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about I guess how far we've come like through this podcast. All the ups and downs, our favorite moments in that. And before we get to that, actually, we're going to talk about our favorite things this past year.
Oh, perfect. This is actually an allusion back to our first episode where we talked about some of our favorite things from 2012.
We've come so far.
And now, since it's 2014, we're going to talk about our favorite stuff from 2013.
Woo!
So why don't we kick off this discussion by talking about music? Godswill, what's something new and something old from that you discovered in 2013?
All right, I'm actually trying to look through my iPhone, trying to see like, what did I really like? So like,
Coming prepared.
Yeah. I mean, at first I thought I had it, and I was like, wait a second, I really like that. Oh, wait a second, I really like that too. Wait, what am I gonna choose? So I guess let me I guess talk, because like there's been a lot of good things that have come out this year. I mean, Kanye West with Yeezus. I mean, that wonderful concert that we saw.
That concert was so good.
J. Cole, I really did like the album that came out.
Born Sinner was great.
There's Daft Punk.
Ooh.
There's Jay-Z. There's like one of my like sort of closet favorites, Bonobo, who came out with his album this year called The North Borders. I really didn't like.
How do you say his name?
Bonobo.
It's not Bonobo?
Yeah. Like I actually went to the concert and he said his own name. I was like, oh.
You went to the Bonobo concert?
Yeah.
Why did you tell me?
It was back in May or so.
Wasn't it the one that was like...
He had two. He had
another one recently. Okay.
I don't know why he did two like in the same year. I mean, I didn't go to that one, but I probably should.
Was it good?
I went to the May one. It was dope. Yeah, although he didn't play my favorite song. But
You didn't play Black Sands?
Nah, which made me really sad. But it was a good concert. I was bumping and grinding and not grinding. Just dancing.
I was about to say grinding at a Bonobo concert seems very
Yeah. Okay, so something new that I really did like though. I guess I'm gonna go with the Childish Gambino album.
Because the internet?
Yeah, because the internet.
Interesting.
Is it
choice.
really my favorite? Not really, but like it is something I really did like because one, all the hype that came with it, like all the albums that he dropped, or not all the songs that he dropped, before dropping that album, like Centipede. I found out about Break All the Lights.
That was way before.
Yeah, I know, but like I found out about it, as the album came out.
Yafet Kodo?
Yeah, Yafet Kodo, yeah. And like all the interviews, like it was really cool to see all that.
Oh yeah.
To the screenplay that came out with it. Like I spent a while just sort of delving into that, and then even the Rap Genius, like looking at each of the songs and then looking at the screenplay, like what does that mean? Oh boy, what does that mean? And then going through the album, you know, it's like, what does that mean? You know, like, why is it like this? And for me, it's like, I guess I can sort of sync with it, you know, like where it was sad for me to hear. Like, I do wish like we did have that sort of happy, upbeat camp feel. Honestly, that's still my favorite Childish Gambino album.
And even calling Camp happy and upbeat is
more of a stretch.
But when you compare it to this album, I can see where you're coming from.
Exactly. And yeah, we hadn't reviewed her or nothing. Oh yeah, well, that's cool. But I guess I'll just give like my own mini review. But like because the internet is really cool. Like I really did like the first half. The second half got a little trippy and a little bit like existential. It was sort of sad to see like how much like he's sort of alienated by like all of his stardom and everything, and like how much of a toll that's taken on him, where he's hard pressed to find real friends and stuff like that. You know, like, and also like how he's sort of reflecting like on how the internet has made him popular. I mean, you know, he wouldn't have been able to, you know, become the rapper he is if it wasn't for the internet, right? Or like with all these interviews, you know, he wouldn't be where he was. And it was sort of like, honestly, it was sad to see like all this sort of existentialist, like, should I even, you know, live anymore or whatever? But it was so heartfelt, something that, you know, isn't really seen, felt in hip hop or, you know, mainstream music at all, you know. So it was really nice to see all that. And also a lot of his music was really cool. I really did like Crawl. I liked Telegraph Avenue. I liked Pink Toes. I liked seeing like the sort of craziness of like of all of the music, you know. Like he definitely took a big turn. It reminded me of Yeezus, but a little more sane somehow.
Yeah, it was for me, like I really enjoyed the album as well. It took me a couple of listens to fully appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the fact that he released this album very much with a purpose. Mm-hmm. Like everything was very well thought out. All of like his mannerisms and interviews, like the clothes that he wore the same outfit to like all of his interviews leading up to the release of the album. Mm-hmm. And once you read the screenplay, you realize that that's the same outfit that the kid in the screenplay has. Mm-hmm. And so it's really interesting to see how much thought and detail went into this album. And I'm afraid that that's something that people miss when they first.
Most definitely.
It's something that people miss when they first hear it. You know, mm-hmm. A lot of the big criticisms with that album was, this is a rap album. I expect to hear a lot more rap. Mm-hmm. But if you listen to some of like the actual, you know, raps that he and some of the words that he says, and you take into account all the work that he put into this album and all of the things that exist outside of the album but still contribute to the album, you really gain this sense of wonder and appreciation. Yeah. And I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
My tracks are very different from your tracks. Yeah. I really enjoyed the existential bits a lot. Wow. Tracks I really liked included The Party is a very small track. Yeah. And he has like, that was wild. It's like a minute and a half, but his rapping is so on point.
On point, yeah. And then like how it just sort of, it's like as if he's talking to himself, and then it turns into like a real conversation or, you know, yelling, I guess.
Yeah, it's really good. And I my favorite track on the album actually is Andrew Auernheimer. It's the last track on the album. I'm hoping that his next album is kind of like a mix
of
between
camp
and Because of the Internet.
Yeah.
With the ambiance that Because the Internet brought, with the sheer like hard rapping that is in Camp. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It would be interesting. It'd be very interesting.
Exactly. I would like to see that. Like, I do want to say one more thing. Like I did miss like sort of like that sort of
oh God, he's going in right now kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
there wasn't really like a bonfire track.
Exactly. Like like because like he can go in. I mean, like watching that sort of Pound Cake interview that, you know, he did with Sway. Yeah. I'm like, he went in on that, you know, and you know, it's like there wasn't any of that, unfortunately, here.
I mean, there are bits and pieces for me, you know, like I could definitely see, you know, little flashes of it here and there. Like in The Party, like he goes in on that track. Like,
but it was really small.
Does not stop. But it's little glimpses.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And his rhymes, you know, they don't come as fast, because if you look at the album as a whole, it would be very inappropriate.
It is supposed
given
to be
the
more
context. It's supposed to be introspective and a little bit more solemn and somber. That was actually one of the biggest complaints about Camp, was that it was a very uneven album in terms of the feelings that were there.
I guess so.
You know, like I remember,
go from All the Shine to Bonfire to All the Shine.
Yeah, and not even that. It would be like he'd be bragging about something at one point, but then the next line would be about
Introspection.
about how many, you know, like how his life sucks. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it would be there wouldn't be any consistency per se.
I get that.
You know I think he took that with a grain of salt, and he made a very consistent album. You know, and that's something that I can appreciate, and it does tell a story a little bit better, I think, than Camp. But in the end, you know, like I still preferred Camp personally, just because it was, you know, Camp to me had a lot of variety of emotions versus because the internet kind of conveyed like one feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that was a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I guess you share your top album.
Okay. My top album for this year, you already know.
Yeah, I already know.
Random Access Memories
that's why I
by
didn't want to say
Daft
it.
Punk.
Because I really did like that album
Oh my God. So they just won Album of the Year at the Grammys.
Whoa.
So congratulations to them.
Nice.
Daft Punk killing it.
I haven't watched it, but I'm really
I didn't either. I just heard about it. I was
Okay.
like, yes, they did it. And of course, the robots, they didn't say a word when they won. Pharrell did most of the talking. And then Paul Williams did some talking too when they won another award. Like it's just awesome. Like I love Daft Punk, and I love everything that they stand for. You guys know from the reboot episode that we really like Daft Punk. So I won't go into too many details about Random Access Memories. If you want to hear us talk more in depth on Daft Punk,
you can hear a whole biography.
you want us to hear us talk more in depth about Daft Punk, there's a link in the description to our previous episode called Reboot, and we have a really awesome discussion on Daft Punk, and I highly encourage all of you to listen to that.
Definitely.
But Random Access Memories, it had so much to offer. It was a nice return for Daft Punk, and it was nostalgic and cutting edge at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's something
It's hard to pull off.
Is incredibly difficult to pull off, and only Daft Punk, in my opinion, could pull it off.
Exactly. I do want to say, like, while you're gone over this break, I really did enjoy Touch and Lose Yourself to Dance a lot more. Like,
right?
A lot more. Like I remember, like, Lose Yourself to Dance was like what, like, sort of saved my life. I was falling asleep on the road one day. I'm just like, let me put on a song I can groove to, and I put that on.
Dude, your shoulders just go. Like you can't even stop it. It's like, lose yourself to dance.
It wasn't just shoulders, son. It was the whole.
Well, look, I can't break like you, okay? All I can do is the shoulders, all right? Like,
okay.
Shoulders. Maybe sometimes I get the little arms in, like, bow, 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 bow. Like, I can't break like you. I'm sorry, all right? I'm pretty sure you're in there, like, making Mozart's, like, 7th Symphony. He probably didn't even do 7 symphonies or whatever. Some classical kid is just, like, listening to this being like, I'm going to murder that Indian kid for playing Mozart. But you know what I'm saying. Like, you were making art in that car, and I was just like, bow, bow, bow. Offbeat.
Wow.
I still get down to Daft Punk.
Okay, there you go.
And that's the thing.
At least you try.
I can't dance. Daft Punk makes me dance, and I can't dance. You know, I'm not saying that I dance well because of Daft Punk, but at least I dance because of Daft Punk.
Exactly.
Moving is better than nothing.
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
I think so.
Sometimes.
I think so. For the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I guess something old now, huh?
Yeah. Something that you discovered over the year 2013. It doesn't have to come out in 2013, but you discovered it, and you think it's worth sharing.
All right. Oh my gosh! Like, it's like, seriously my favorite album. Like, yeah, like I do wish it did come out 2013 so I could talk about it. But I've been listening to like this band called Hypnotic Brass Ensemble for like the whole year. Ever since we first started last year, you know, we first started listening to this one song called War. And like I found out from that song from Royalty, actually, Childish Gambino, yeah. And I have loved that song. I played it so many times this whole past year, like 200 times, you know, like at least once, like most times once a day, you know, just.
Dude, like I get it. Like I did the same thing. And on days when I had big tests or some job type things, that would be my alarm clock.
Nice.
I would wake up to War.
Nice.
You know, that sounds really dark.
Yeah, right. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. No, but seriously, War is just such a good song. And like, so like, I was like, let me see the album that it came out from. And I bought the album, and seriously, it's been one of the best things I feel like I've done. Like, I'm so happy about it. I really want to see Hypnotic Brass Ensemble like in concert or something like that. And like seriously, they have got me through like this whole year. Like the album's called Hypnotic Brass Ensemble. It's self-titled, and it just seriously is like what I'm feeling, I guess, you know. And like also I bought another album or like another EP. I bought an EP from them first, then the album. The EP is called Bulletproof Brass. Like first of all, like it looks like a Gundam made out of brass instruments.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Oh, it's so cool. So that's what actually made me want to buy it. And then like I bought it and I loved it. And then I bought the album Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, and I've been just listening to those constantly, nonstop, almost every day, if not every day. Like, and no matter like if I'm tired, sad, happy, need like a boost, or if I'm pumped up, this is like the band I listen to. So man, like they've just been sort of self-expanding. It's sort of as if I was able to make the music. This is what I would make if I could make music.
For me, we both went on all sorts of musical journeys this year. There was that time when we all accidentally got into the Gorillaz at the same time, which is great, and we discovered how wonderful Gorillaz was beyond just the singles.
Yeah.
But for me, I need to highlight a band that I discovered very, very recently. So back when we were doing the Daft Punk episode, I was looking for some really cool Daft Punk-esque videos to kind of promote. And I stumbled upon this cover of Something About Us, which is one of my favorite Daft Punk songs for sure. And this cover was really soulful, and it was just really on point. It was just really interesting take on Something About Us. And I loved it. And I remember looking into the band a little bit later and thinking maybe they've done some other good stuff. And honestly, for like ever since I've come back from India, I have been continuously listening to them. It's a group called Balance and the Traveling Sounds. They have 2 albums out right now that are available at least on Google Play. I'm not sure if they have other albums necessarily. They might have little mixtapes floating around and stuff, but there's just 2 albums, and each album has like 6 or 7 songs. So it's not a long discography, but the music that they make is just so soulful and so full of various influences. Like, it's just so nice to listen to.
What's it called again?
Balance and the Traveling Sounds.
Okay, I'll check that out myself because I hadn't heard anything like that.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description of this video to that Something About Us cover. And that's a good indication of some of the sounds that they kind of produce. Like, it's just a really nice listening experience. And it's also pretty good music to get it on to. But that's like another story for another time, I guess.
When we have someone to get on with, I mean...
What's this weak stuff?
I mean, individually, us...
What
are you talking about?
Balance of the Traveling Sounds. They're pretty great. They're pretty great.
Cool. So
yeah, those were our albums. Well, in my case, I guess an album in a group. You guys should definitely look into them.
Same thing for me. It was album and group too.
Oh, it was album in a group for you?
Yeah, because I did two EPs or 2 different album things.
You're right. Look at that. We were both originally planning on this to be like an album, like an old album and a new album, but we ended up doing the same thing.
Yeah. Because
the last minute, like that's how on point. Oh, bro, we're fist bumping right now. You can't see it. You can't see it. We blew it up at the end.
You guys felt it.
You guys felt that fist bump. Can we mic bump? I don't know if anybody heard that or not. That was us bumping mics.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
That sounds so wrong. At least they're covered. Am I right?
Oh, God. Okay. Anyways.
We're going to stop making sexual innuendos, and we're going to take a small break. Okay. And when we come back, we're going to talk about noteworthy movies from 2013.
Cool. Hey folks, we're back, and after our small break of not trying to make sexual innuendos anymore,
it was unsuccessful.
Yeah. So we're back, and we are ready to talk about our favorite movies that came out last year.
Oh yeah.
So as you know, or if you've been like a long time listener, we have actually checked out quite a few movies. Notably like Pacific Rim. What else have we talked about? All right, that's it.
Check out our deep. That's like the worst. I can see the worst commercial. The worst commercial for our podcast is just like our group of experts has meticulously shifted through a variety of critically acclaimed films, including Pacific Rim. We also have a nice selection of.
Keep this in. Anyways,
Look at our vast library of films.
this year we'll have a lot more movies to talk about.
I mean, I did see a lot of movies. We both saw a lot of movies.
Yeah.
You know, we saw like Thor and Star Trek,
World's End,
the World's End, the End of the World. Like we've seen a lot of films. You know.
Yeah. We didn't talk about them. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't talk about them on the podcast per se, but we did see a lot of films. So, Godzilla, was there anything for you in particular that stuck out?
Okay, stuck out.
Stuck out.
I like
stuck
that.
out. I can't even English. See, this is what happens when you go to a third world country for a long time. you forget how to English.
You're still trying to get out of the system. Anyways, the movie that I really liked, well, the one movie that I saw recently was 500 Days of Summer, finally for the first time. But I guess I'll talk about that like during our Valentine's Day. But like
spoilers.
But like something that I did really like that came out this year was Don John.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was a fantastic film.
JGL is so awesome, and yes, he's a total bro. So
that in-depth film review of Don John. What else would you expect?
5 out of 5.
What else would you expect from this group?
And Scarlett Johansson, yes. 6 out of 5, y'all.
Wow, much JGO.
Okay, so for you all who don't know, like I'm not gonna give like spoilers or nothing, but like, or at least I'll try not to. But like, it's about this sort of meathead dude that is pretty satisfied with his life of partying and hooking up with girls.
Really attractive girls.
Yeah, really good looking girls.
Ooh.
And then also sort of putting on sort of facade or putting his like love into like all these different things. Most notably porn. Like porn is like how he
escapes.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. I was like, what's the best word for that? So like in fact, like when he's having sex with girls, he doesn't even like the real life sex. He'll have sex with them and then he'll go to porn immediately after, while they're asleep or something like that. So
he thinks that porn is better than sex.
Yeah,
like it's a weird film. Like, I think one of the reasons
it's a movie that a lot of guys need to see.
I think it's a movie that not just guys should see, though. I think it's not just a movie for guys. It's a weird thing because I think about it from a marketing perspective. It's hard to really see what this film is about, and I think that's one of the reasons why it didn't do as well commercially as I think it should have. Because it's like a movie about love and stuff, but it's not really directed. It doesn't market itself as a film directed towards women.
Yeah, it seems
So, but that, but it also is about love and romance and things which are traditionally, I suppose traditionally speaking, though these are concepts that shouldn't be traditionally speaking in my opinion. Like love and things are not just reserved for like one gender. But that's all that aside, from a strict marketing sense. It's like it somehow like alienates both audiences, like and it doesn't come off. It's hard for you to specifically market it towards any one type of audience. But that being said, I think it's a film that everyone should see because it shows how we as a society have almost perverted relationships.
Yeah.
To be something, on both ends.
Yeah.
Like with the thing about, like, especially when I think about the end of the film, like the end of the film leaves some of us it left me uncomfortable for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like at the very end of the film, which is weird for me to say. But when I thought about it, that was the point of the film, was if it was to showcase something outside of what we're fed relationships should be. And the fact that we're uncomfortable with it is just because we haven't seen that before, and we don't associate things in terms of relationships to be with that realm. Yeah. We associate relationships to be with what the film, markets, young guy, beautiful girl,
beautiful girl. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what we associate relationships with. And, it
doesn't really go like that.
And it's more than that, it's more than just the physical fulfillment that, for example, pornography gives. And it's more than like this fairy tale story where it's like the beautiful princess finds the prince and then they go live happily ever after. It's more than that. It's a film that serves as a commentary on both sides and shows all of the really bad like biases that we have in the world. Yeah, that's me on my podium.
Yeah, that's quite the explication, Einstein, the Indian Einstein.
I'm hoping that some of that made sense and it wasn't.
Oh
like
yeah, no, like, definitely. Like I guess like me have watched it. Like definitely that's perfect and without even spoiling it. So that's great. I mean, I was like, how can I talk about this without even spoiling it? It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson's in it. She's sexy as hell. And then it helps a lot of people deal with what you think a relationship's supposed to be, but it's not. You know, it doesn't go like that all the time.
Yeah, and it's really funny too. Like it's really funny. Like props to JGL. He wrote this, he directed it, and he starred in it, and it was just such a nice film. Like the dialogue was really good, the characters were great. You know, the story overall was really interesting. You know, and it was unique. You know, it
felt real too.
Yeah, and it is a real story. You know, you know, like I wish I could say that I was the dude who, you know, like goes to clubs and, you know, pulls tens every single week.
Yeah, right.
But
one day. Yeah, right. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not us. But then again, we're sort of close. We're steadily, right? At least I like to think so.
Oh, you know what I see right now is pictures of ourselves being photoshopped onto that scene from SpongeBob when they're like, not lame.
Yes,
that's what I see.
We should put that. We should do that,
dude. Yes, yeah. I think we should make that the banner for for
yes.
at one point.
Yeah, right.
For a podcast, not lame.
You want to do that for Valentine's or no?
That's another story for another time.
Okay.
Don John, huh?
Yeah, Don John.
Good call. Good
Thanks,
call.
bro.
Not enough people talked about that film.
No.
For me, I'm going to do the opposite and talk about a film that everybody's been raving about lately that I had the pleasure of seeing very recently, and that is Frozen. Oh, my God.
And Kyle's been telling me to go watch that movie for a while. And, like, I want to. And don't get me wrong. But just, I don't know. It just didn't look like something I had to go see. But let's hear it.
Don't get me wrong.
Let's hear this.
Like, when I saw the trailers and stuff, I was just like... Yeah,
it seems
I guess I could wait. Maybe.
Seems sort of like some like Brother Bear or something like that. Don't get me wrong.
I was like,
Yeah.
But this film was so interesting. In my opinion, it did something that Daft Punk did with Random Access Memories, in the sense that it felt very nostalgic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I watched that film, you could put it next to what people consider like the Renaissance era of Disney films. That would be
90s.
like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, that era of films. You have the same feelings from that film, from like those series of films. But it's a cutting edge film in terms of some of the characters and of course the animation. Like the animation was so beautiful. And also the fact that it really like takes some of the tropes and just throws them away. You know, sometimes you think that it like at the beginning you think, oh, this is very simple. Like, oh, she finds the prince and they live happily ever after. But it gets so much deeper than that. Like, it's hard to explain without giving spoilers.
Away.
But the feelings that I felt in that film were so vast and so varied. You know, and I honestly think that it is one of the finest animated works that I've seen in my life. It's not Toy Story. It might, in my opinion, be better than Wreck-It Ralph, which is saying something because I said a lot of stuff about Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, you're the guy who made me watch Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, and and it's just
okay. Now I was like, I have to go see it. I guess I'll go see it next week or so.
Yeah, and it was just like the level of emotions that were in that film were so intense. Like it's hard for me to say, and it was a weird story too. I guess the situation of me watching it. I thought that the showing was at 11:15, so I got to the mall, and when I got there, the theater was closed, and it turns out that the showing was actually at noon. So I spent some time at just looking around the mall, and I wandered into this shop. It was like an art shop, right? And the owner was there, and we made some small talk, and he asked me where I was from. And from there, it turned to be this guy spouting some of the most racist, hateful, and bigoted things I have ever heard in my life.
Uncle Wesley right here.
Oh my God. Like it was just like, and you know, like I went into that movie and I was shaking, you know, with anger, you know, because he said a lot of like really spiteful things, you know, but watching that film took me away from all of that, you know, like that's what a good film should do. It should take you away. Like it should take you away from all the stress and all the anger that you have, at least for however long the film is. And then if it's a really good film, like it'll take you away for even longer than that. And that's what I felt with when I watched that film. You know, before Frozen, I was like really angry, you know what I mean? And I was just pissed off. But after Frozen, I actually went back to the store and I talked to the guy some more, and we had like a discussion. And it wasn't a situation that potentially could have gotten violent did not get violent. And I legitimately think that it's because that film was like magical to the point where it transcended some of the feelings that I had and gave me like a different perspective. I mean, the perspective there was like, I'm not saying that the film touches on racism and things like that.
Maybe he's right.
The film doesn't touch on racism or anything like that, but I'm just saying that for me, it was a magical experience and it was just what I needed, and it came at the right time. And that's one of the reasons why I cannot stop recommending it.
Powerful, man. It
was a powerful film.
I guess I'm gonna have to go see it next week then. I mean,
it was great.
I mean, I'm glad to hear you talk about it, because I was just like, do I need to go see it? Maybe not. I'll just wait. Whatever.
If it was a Pixar movie, it would be one of Pixar's best films.
Dang. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. I guess let's talk about our favorite TV show, just briefly, and then I guess we'll go on a little break or so.
We should go on a break first and then talk about it.
Because it'll be quick like that, right? Because we only have one TV show that we liked really that much. I mean, there's a great TV that came out this last.
We don't need to take a break between the last segment, though, do we?
No, we do.
We do?
Yeah, we'll take a break then. Like, we'll talk about TV show, and then we'll take a break.
But we said at the beginning we're going to talk about movies.
We just did talk about movies.
Exactly. So now we should take a break and then talk about TV.
Oh, let's just talk about TV right now.
Wow, we're breaking the format.
Yeah. Let's just be like, okay, now we're just going to move on to our last segment. Since it'll be quick. Okay, we'll just take a break.
Okay, we'll take a break.
Okay.
We're going to take a small break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about shit. Shit.
What?
We're going to take a small break, and when we come
You want me to do this?
You do it.
Okay. Hey, we're going to take a small break right now, and we're going to... Oh, shoot. Okay, let me come back. All right, one more. We're going to take a small break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk about our favorite TV show of this last year. Hey folks, we are back and we are ready to talk about our favorite TV show. It's been a good year, actually.
It has been a good year.
I mean, Korra, at first we were thinking it was going to be a big flop, and it
surprised us,
yeah.
The ending could have been better, but
it came back. Walking Dead was pretty good. Game of Thrones. Oh man.
Game of Thrones is so good.
Like how we made that sound simultaneously. But there is only one show that only needs discussing.
There is only one show.
Only one show. The one true king of shows of our generation, all right?
Of our generation.
That if you didn't watch it, stop. Go on Netflix. 5.5 seasons are there. Go watch it. Or 4.5 seasons, right?
Are they all? I think they should all be there by now. Right?
I don't know if the last half of it. But you should know what we're talking about by now. Doctor Who. No, I'm kidding. No.
Shout out to Doctor Who.
Breaking Bad, mofos.
Freaking bad.
Oh, my gosh. The show. We already made like a whole podcast thing about this.
We made a series of videos about this.
Yes.
But.
Oh, wait.
It goes without saying.
Uh-huh.
This show is phenomenal.
Uh-huh.
It is
the show of a
incredible.
generation. It's something we're going to remember when we're old.
Oh, most definitely. Now, one of the biggest problems that I have, and one of the biggest problems I think plagues a lot of good television shows these days, is the ending.
Oh, yeah.
The ending is
Dexter
so
sucked.
crucial. Yeah, ending of Dexter, you know what I mean? That
Sopranos.
Yes. Well, Sopranos, people have mixed back on, but it was abrupt. The ending of Lost, for example, like... There have been so many instances where you invest a lot of time into TV shows and they just don't deliver. And that's such a letdown. It's gotten to the point where that idea has prevented me from jumping into some really long shows until they're done. For example, One Piece.
No, watch One Piece.
See,
so good. One Piece. Okay, I'm done.
Look, I can.
One
But you
Piece.
see where I'm coming from. You see,
I understand,
you
but
understand, right? There's so many times that I've been
just
disappointed
wait till Nathaniel gets
by
to you.
the endings of shows
Uh-huh.
that it's made it so
Nathaniel
sometimes I
changed you.
even question whether it was worth investing all that time initially into the show, right? And that's a problem that has beset a lot of television shows in our area,
Mhm.
in our area, I
Era.
guess, in our era.
Uh-huh.
Area. What I can't even English.
Only in Texas.
Only in Texas has it beset us.
Yeah, right.
Man, did you see the finale of Dallas? No, I'm kidding. But jokes. But breaking. So when we went into this last final hoorah of Breaking Bad,
Oh my.
these were the feelings that I had. I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was one of the best things that had come on television,
Mm-hmm.
and so there was a lot on the line here,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But watching that season, honestly, that last half was some of the finest television I have ever seen in my life.
Most definitely. They did not pull any punches. They, characters that you had grown to love for years,
Gone.
things that you wouldn't expect to happen so quickly.
Yeah, and they didn't give you any room to breathe.
No.
There's no room to breathe. Every episode was so
Mm.
tight knit.
Mm.
The pacing was so intense, and everything was so. It didn't feel. It was fast paced, but it wasn't rushed at all.
Mhm,
It
most
still
definitely.
had the same element of Breaking Bad, where everything is meticulously,
Mhm.
detailed, and you can see the characters, growing, and their interactions, are so well outlined. But everything was just so quick. You'd get punched in the stomach and then punched in the face immediately.
Exactly. I mean, like Ozymandias, big things happen.
Basically, Ozymandias.
Yeah. Like characters is just like,
God.
what?
You know what Ozymandias was like? For anybody who's seen Ip Man, when he's doing like the machine gun punch, like
Yeah,
that was
right.
like the last season of Breaking Bad, and especially Ozymandias. Like by the end of it, like you're dead, like you're just lying down, like one of those 10 black belts.
Exactly
Just-
right. Yeah, the one whose hip was broken, just like, ow, what the hell? Like the metaphor that you came up with, when we were watching, is like every episode is like a really rich, luxury built cake, that you can't, just munch on like chips or nothing. You have to like sit down and enjoy it bit by bit, and you have to rest. You can't you can't marathon this last half.
It's too hard to marathon. Like I was glad that we were watching that
came
last
out,
because we were watching it live because I needed that break in between.
Exactly. You have to chew on
needed
it the whole week,
I
and
needed
then it's like, okay, what's next? And it's just such, and it tied up so nicely.
It tied up so nicely.
It was simple. I mean,
relatively
Yeah,
speaking.
relatively
like,
simple. They
you
could have
could
done
go
something.
you could go into like you watch the second to last episode and be like, okay, she's probably going, this is kind of what's going to happen. But the way that they executed exactly how things happened was so incredible.
Exactly.
It was masterful.
exactly,
And
and
this-
that's what has cemented Bryan Cranston into stardom. I mean, like now you hear his name and he's like, oh, he's gonna be like in Batman vs Superman. It's like, oh my god, or he's gonna be in whatever, Like,
it was incredible. And Breaking Bad now safely rests as my second favorite TV show of all time.
what's your favorite?
You already know. Avatar:
Okay,
Last
yeah, just
Airbender
making
all
sure.
day.
Just making sure.
And I will give my reasons if anybody wants to fight me on Zuko versus Walter White, but that's a different story for a different time.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, that's our favorite TV show of last year. I mean,
2013.
I mean, like, we couldn't even be like, like,
Yeah,
Korra was, nah.
Yeah, I mean, they're good shows.
Good shows, but this was
Breaking Bad was
10,
perfection. In my opinion, Breaking Bad is gonna be one of those things that we look back on. Like filmmakers will look back at Breaking Bad.
Exactly. This set the bar for many things.
It is the definition of monumental. It encompasses that.
Exactly.
Like it is one of those shows that is going to withstand the test of time. And honestly, I think that it's going to be a film. No, sorry, not a film, but a show that people study. Whenever they're getting into film and whatnot. I think it's worth studying. There's so much that Breaking Bad gave us, not just us, but the industry as a whole. It was a show that was so unknown, but then after being on Netflix for some time, became one of the most popular shows. It was a show that people cannot stop talking about, and there's good reason why people can't stop talking about it. I understand people
we can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, people who are listening right now might be like, "Ugh, shut the fuck up about Breaking Bad." Everybody's talking about Breaking Bad. Like, what's the big deal? I'm telling you
Go
right
watch
now,
it.
it is one of the biggest cultural events that has happened to us as a society in ages, especially in terms of entertainment. It is something that everyone needs to watch. I'm not saying like go sit down with your 6-year-old and be like Breaking Bad time. Like, no, okay.
Yeah.
But if you are over the age of 18, you need to watch this show.
Yeah.
You owe it to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's that. I mean, definitely it just touches like on so many different things. I mean, this is the last thing I will say. Like, it's like you will think, oh, chemistry or meth. I'm not interested in that, but it goes so much further than that, where it goes into like the human element. You know, like what does it mean to be human? What's the distance you'll go to help your family, or like greed? It touches on so many different things.
So many different aspects. But my friend Sam, he was always really hesitant to get into Breaking Bad. He's just like, I don't want to watch a show about drugs. And then he watches it and he was just like, wow, this was marketed terribly towards me.
Yeah.
This show is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Like, definitely, yeah. It does sound like it would be like boring or whatever. There's a reason why everyone's raving over it, and not just because we all like drugs,
Yeah.
So definitely
That crystal dough.
Yeah,
Ooh.
right? Ooh. Yeah.
And stick with it. Like, I will say that the first 2 seasons are good, but it just keeps getting better. That's like the best part about Breaking Bad, is no matter where someone is in the show, you can always say it gets better. Like, seriously.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's that with that. So right now we're going to take one more little break, I guess, and we are going to get into our last segment, where we talk about our favorite moments of our podcast show this last year, actually. Like what makes us want to keep on going, I guess. So,
and we're also going to touch on the future.
Oh, Justin, what does your third eye see?
Third eye sees so many things.
Oh, shoot.
When I was in India, I went to like a shaman, and he was like, what the fuck am I doing in India? This is not my demographic.
So yeah, we'll be back.
Hello and welcome back to That's Dope, the podcast where we talk about stuff that's dope, and we are here to be super retrospective. It has been a year. It has been a year, man.
Yeah, man.
And it's been a good year, and a lot of stuff has happened to us as not just as a podcast, but as people,
as friends,
best bro.
We've come so far. Yeah, like for those who've stuck with us the whole way, I definitely want to say thank you.
Yeah.
We have good close friends who have given us like good advice. Really egged us to keep on going. To that really encouraged us, and definitely want to thank all you guys. Nathaniel, Ka, Slotin, have other friends, like for example, like Walter. I remember like Luke Skinner, like really gave some good words at the beginning that really like gave us like the encouragement.
It's just so many people.
Yeah, a lot of people like unfortunately I remember Ashley was saying some nice about it. I was just like, oh, thank you. It's like, hey, maybe we can do it, but now we're gonna talk about like our favorite moments that really define like what really made us want to keep on going, and really made us want to touch the skies, I guess, with this, right. Like as soon as I said that, as many of you guys know, like we had like a long hiatus where honestly we didn't even know if we're gonna continue still, but things happen where it's like we can do this and we will make this work one way or another. So I guess you go first, because I've been going first this whole time. Yeah.
For me, one of the really defining moments was meeting Swoozy. This was such a crazy turn of events for us. Basically, the story behind that was I was upstairs. Godswill was visiting my roommate. And,
okay. I was like, what? It was like, that sounds so dirty. It's like I was visiting your roommate.
He's a mutual friend, all right? He's not that kind of visit.
Okay.
Or is it? I don't know. Jokes. But yeah, I was upstairs. Godswill was visiting my roommate, and I was on Facebook, and I see in my news feed a message from Swoozy. He put it up as a status. He said, hey, by the way, I'm going to be in Dallas at this hotel tomorrow at this time. You guys should come meet up. and I looked at it, and I kind of started fanboying a little bit right there. I was like, and so I busted out my phone, and I was running down the stairs and texting at the same time, and I look up, and who else is sitting at my table than Godswill, talking to my roommate.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, bro, do you want to go meet Swoozy tomorrow? And he was like, yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
And so we go, and we go to the hotel. And even before we see him, like, we're just walking, and I hear his voice.
Yeah, we hear his
I
voice.
hear his voice. And I was like, oh, my God, this is actually happening. And we get up there. And we just see him. He's just there. There's not like a huge crowd of people.
Yeah, it's like a few, like 3 maybe people there just like, hey, let's get a picture with you or something like that.
And he's just there. And, we wait for a little bit and we see how he's interacting with people and his fans. And we just strike up a conversation with him, And this is like a long conversation. And then we're like, oh, by the way, we're with this podcast and we would love to interview you. He's like, yeah, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
He didn't have any qualms or anything with the fact that we had spent so much time talking with him. He just was like, yeah, I'm ready to do it. Let's do it. And so I pull out my camera and I realize that I had not taken the battery with me. And it was a moment where I was just so disappointed in myself. But as life has taught me, things happen for a reason. And there were 2 guys there named Kyrie and Anoff. And they had a really great camera with a really awesome microphone. And they're like, hey, we're down to record your podcast interview. And then we'll just send it to you. And I was like, wow, all right. And so we recorded the interview with Swoozy. And he gave us a lot of really great advice. And it really inspired us.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we ended up meeting some really awesome people. And, it was cool having feedback from people live. It was like people would tell us that they really enjoyed what we did.
This is their first time ever seeing or hearing about us. So.
Yeah, like normally it's different with a podcast.
Yeah, we're talking to friends.
Yeah. With a podcast, it's like, we release it, and where we are right now, most of our audience is just our friends. And, this was like we did something live. And we had feedback from it immediately, because we've done guest interviews before, but this was the first time where we did a guest interview and we had a crowd watching as well. So it was just a really good feel overall, and it made us both really inspired.
Yes.
And it was just a wonderful experience.
Exactly.
And it was, not just from a podcast sense, but looking back at 2013, that was one of the really defining moments for me.
That moment really impacted me a lot too. But for me, actually, like there's a moment before that like really like stoked my fire, being Swoozy like really like was like like
the gasoline.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like whoa, we can go places. We met one of our heroes actually, and I would like to be friends with Swoozy actually.
Dude, it would be so dope.
Like I remember like when he was like, yo, like I feel like I've seen you before, so and I was like, me and you, man, like we're like the same. I was like, okay, calm down.
He's like, you B-boy? I B-boy too.
I wish
you
I
play
said
video
that.
games? I video game too.
I wish I said. I forgot to ask him if he dances or if he still dances or whatever. But,
dude, how about this? Next time we see Swoozy, dance battle.
Oh yeah,
we already did the interview a bit. Dance battle between you and Swoozy. That'll be the hypest hype ever. All right, we're gonna have like a pocket DJ or something. You know what I mean? It's like
don't worry, I'm already ready.
We're gonna have a bunch of kids with backpacks, and they're gonna come out. And they're gonna set up like a DJ stand right now. It's like, hey, you want to have a dance battle? Cool. And they all just like it's like Transformers with their backpacks, and they turn into like a deck, and they're just like.
Yes, let's make this happen,
dude. It'll be dope.
Come back, Swoozy.
But yeah, what was your I guess initial fire moment?
My initial fire moment was actually back in June-ish time, or I think that's when this convention happened. It was at SGC, Screw Attack Games Convention.
Oh, great convention!
It was like seriously the best convention I had been to, even though it was just full of dudes. Yeah,
that's the thing. Like that convention did not have like the amount of females there was very low.
Oh yeah.
And the amount of like fantastic, awesome cosplay was also very low.
Yeah, that made me sad, but
it was still the best convention of the year. Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, like you're right, but like
it doesn't make any sense
because like everyone felt like a family, and
Yeah.
we were able to be a part of that family, and we were able to just have a good time doing what we like.
It was just a really nice, welcome atmosphere, and the panels were really interesting. And that game room, though. Oh, that
man.
game room, though. Ooh,
It's like they did a few things, and the few things they did it so well. Like the game room, that's how you do game room. The panels, that's how you do a panel. Not a panel, panels, like, because like every panel that was there was amazing. So one of the panels that we did go to was Black Nerd Comedy, otherwise known as Andre the Black Nerd. He has a pretty popular YouTube channel going on. And like I had watched some of his stuff before, and it's like, hey, I just like, hey, let's see if we can talk to him. And we waited till everyone left, and he was like, hey, we asked him, can we give you a podcast? And he was like, sure. Like, and he was so cool, and
he was so chill.
And it was that moment where it's like, hey, we could actually do this. Me and Justin were talking, but like after this moment of like actually doing an interview, which really went really well, and hopefully one day we can actually post it to you guys. But like we were talking about like, hey, maybe we can be in this situation, where we go to conventions and we are asked to talk. We can,
lead panels.
Yeah, lead panels. Like we can, we had dreams of fantasies of going like to E3, going to Comic Con, not Comic Con. One day, like, although Comic Con will get big.
Dude, we should have a That's Dope panel at Comic Con.
Yeah,
that's
right?
what I'm saying.
Hey,
at the very least, if they're getting like a guest or something, and they need some people to interview them,
yeah, most definitely. Hey, we're there.
Dude,
we can be interviewing big people. We can be hanging out with Swoozy. Like Swoozy, like is like, yo, bro, like, hey, when you like, yo, you want to hang out and be like, yeah, sure, no big deal. It's like, yo, like,
it's like, but you live in Florida. It's like, don't worry about it. I paid for your plane ticket,
right? Right. Like where we're getting YouTube money,
YouTube money,
where we're doing like cool things, and people really care about what we're saying. And we, have like a way to impact people. That's what really stoked my fire. And it was meeting him, like, who was like really cool, seeing that people can be really cool, like I always was like, I don't know about these big star guys, they're going to be like jerks, but nah, these guys were super cool. And I met like other guys during that, like I met Adam Sessler, for a little bit, and like didn't really get to meet him, but like I talked to him for a little bit. And he was really cool, even though he was busy, like everyone wanted his attention. But he spent time with every fan that wanted like just a little bit of time with him. He didn't have enough time to give an interview for us, but like he was super cool himself. And it was just like, we can be there, we can do that, and we can be friends and just talk to people as everyone. We can do big things, and that's what really made me just hype, I guess. It's just really cool to see all this. So and that's what like really made me want to like restart, really reboot like our podcast. And I'm really glad that we were able to do this.
Yeah, and it's nice, maybe it was a mistake in planning to originally make it so that we released only once a month.
Yeah,
I like the fact that twice a month we can come together, we can have really good conversations, and then we can spend those bye weeks in between getting feedback from people and finding really nice, awesome things that our listeners share with us. Like we appreciate that more than you guys know.
Yeah.
When people come back, like the point of this is not just for me and Godswill to have a discussion.
Yeah, I want to discuss.
Ideally, this would be me and Godswill starting a discussion, but then it being continued by our listeners.
Exactly.
I think that would be really cool.
And one day when we do get more listeners, I would like to actually like really talk with people, respond to Facebook, YouTube, whatever comments,
Dude, what would be awesome?
What?
If we had a subreddit. I don't even use Reddit, but if we had a subreddit, that would be pretty awesome. That's how we made it. If somehow we get a subreddit, that's how we made it.
I didn't even know that existed, but that's really cool. I guess one thing before we talk about the future is like, do you have like a favorite episode in mind? Like, I know this is like really off the cuff. We didn't even talk about this, but it's like, do you have a favorite episode in mind?
The best episode that we did.
Like not an interview or nothing.
I really always come back to that first episode that we did. Always come back to that first episode that we did. It was just
magic.
We didn't know if we could do it. Like I sat down, remember we were in my tiny little room. This is before we had the mixer or anything.
Yeah,
You had your laptop, I had my laptop. We just sat down across from each other.
on the floor. Yeah, like just like okay.
And I was just like, we've never done this before. What if it doesn't work out? And it was one of those things where we just sat down and we talked.
Yeah, that was our phrase. We were just like
hashtag fuck it, and and we just did it, and it was just nice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
it's like
having conversations normally and having chemistry with people is one thing, but having conversations and recording them and having chemistry, like that's
that's a whole nother thing.
And it was like a really awesome moment in our friendship as well. I think that it was one of those things that
bro
really helped us take it to the next level, you know. And
like that. Huh? I'm sorry, I couldn't stop.
You're not listening to this podcast and be like, dude, those two dudes are totally gay. They're just like, oh, we can't get girls for some reason. It's a cover. It's a cover.
Mom, I got
we're just bros. There's no bros with benefits or anything like that. I promise.
Oh,
just bros.
Yeah, right. Oh man, my favorite episode was also a really early episode. Like it was the episode where we talked about Journey. I'm not sure if we actually ever put that out. Did we?
I think that might have been maybe one of the lost episodes.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
one of the last episodes where we talked about Journey. We talked about Bastion, and then what else did we talk about that episode? We talked about something that was like really cool.
I'm not sure. It was so.
I do remember talking about the game Journey and then the music of Journey.
Maybe The Walking Dead.
Probably, yeah. We talked about
Walking Dead. The Walking Dead
season 3
special.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
yeah. That was a good one, and it was a shame that we lost the episode, but not a big deal. Like we're on the bigger and better stuff. So I guess on the bigger and better stuff, what do we have planned in the future? Well, we have a few collaborations in mind.
definitely a few collabs.
Yeah, we have a few local people, and then if we do get bigger, hey, maybe even bigger collaborations. You know? Yeah. We're reaching out to more people. So yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot more interviews.
Definitely looking forward to doing more interviews.
And then also we're gonna be doing a new special segment actually in the future. Yeah. You know, we're going to be doing like one of our favorite pastimes, and we're going to be doing some of our favorite pastimes.
Two of our favorite pastimes put together, I suppose.
Exactly. So
we wish we could go into some specifics, but there are just a lot of details that are being worked on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can say is we've come this far, and we've had our rough sailing, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm ready to kind of
take it to another level.
Take it to the next level with this next year.
Yeah, man.
And we definitely can't do that without you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot stress this enough.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are the ones who share our content and review us so nicely on iTunes. Like, oh my God, the iTunes reviews are just make me smile every time I see them.
And you look at it.
Yeah, that was definitely like a big moment when I put in the submission into iTunes and it accepted it, and I went to iTunes and I looked us up, and we were there. Like, that was such a big moment for me. Like I remember getting a little bit emotional about that, and I even think about it right now. Like, I feel a little emotional just thinking about it. But we've come this far, and we've had our ups and downs, but we're ready to take this to the next level.
One last thing I do want to say is I guess I want to thank the people that have really helped us, our crew.
Yes.
Like, we definitely haven't put the show on by ourselves at all. Definitely do want to, say thanks to, Nathaniel for his guidance and, the wisdom.
He's like our podcast guru.
Exactly. Definitely he's been giving us a lot of advice for that. Definitely want to say thank you to Alberto and Alex, our sound editors, who have been putting in a lot of work. I want to say thanks to, like our designer, or actually like, I want to say thanks to Carlos Avila, who had helped us with some of our designs.
Thanks to Sky.
Yeah,
Sky's gonna be hopefully a future contributor.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, finally, we can't forget this guy. It was really important to us, and he's the one who made the logo for our podcast.
Exactly,
Mr. Bonnie John. Seriously, bro. Congratulations on all your recent successes that you've been having. If you, for those of you who haven't been following Bonnie, what the fuck is wrong with you? And second, he's been having a lot of really nice success. He has this project called Pokemon One a Day, where he's been taking the original set of Pokemon and he's been redrawing them in really interesting forms, and that's just been doing really well.
Cool.
And
I hadn't seen that myself, so I'm gonna check that out.
The art is just really interesting. He's just making a lot of really good stuff, and it's all really interesting, and people are finally noticing, and that just makes me really happy. Definitely big shout outs to Bonnie John for
exactly. Thank you so much for, definitely that the logo is perfect.
It really is. Like it was something, like it was such a tall order for Bonnie.
Yeah.
Like it's like we didn't even have a pilot for him to base the logo on.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a concept, and it had some reworks, and it became something that encapsulated exactly what we were going for.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
was just really nice. And seriously, thank you so much, man.
Exactly. So yeah, we're pretty excited to see like what the future is going to bring. We're hoping to work with more people. Hoping to use more talents. If you're ever interested, hit us up.
Yeah, we would love to collab for
Mhm.
people who are content creaters.
Most definitely.
Definitely interested. If you want us on our I've done some appearances on some podcasts.
What?
Yeah.
No one's asked me anything. That's cool.
Well, if you want us on your podcast, just hit us up. We'd love to collab. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say.
I guess where you can find us and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where you can find us. We have links in the description, but if you are listening on iTunes, it's facebook.com/that'sdopepodcast, twitter.com/that'sdopepodcast, and
Tumblr.
that'sdopepodcast.tumblr.com.
Cool.
Guys, thank you so much. As always, please leave us your feedback. If you have things you want us to talk about, please let us know. And thanks for a phenomenal year.
Mm-hmm. It's been a great one, and I'm really excited for this new one. Seems like we're gonna be doing a lot more. So yeah, stick around and just keep staying dope, y'all.
Keep staying dope.
Yeah.
We'll see you around.
Peace.